Okay, no, I already clicked record. That's where the money's at. That's where the money's at.
Can you be my hype man, like, on stage when I finish a song during a regular show?
Absolutely.
Can you just say, like, that's where the money's at?
That's where the money's at. I will tell you this right now, Danimal. If you at all need somebody, I will come on stage and I will be there. I'll be your intro guy. All right, I'll carry the wine coolers. I'll do whatever you need me to do.
The wine coolers.
Everybody knows.
Kids.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows a great concert is followed by a wine cooler. Okay.
Wow.
So with a
I'll
wine
have
cooler.
to remember that.
That is true. That is true. Name me one middle-aged woman who went to an event with a wine cooler and left upset. None.
I can't argue with that.
Zero. Zero, and that is how we approach demographics. That's a business decision. That's how we approach demographics.
Wow.
Demographics.
All right.
That was great. What song was that again?
That is called Roots. It's off my album Roots.
Roots? Off the album Roots. Also, a famous TV series back in the day. Not any association with it all to this album, right? That was not an inspiration?
Well, that's the great part about instrumental music, is you can sort of make it up as you go along. Like, when I finish a song, like, I often don't have, like, an idea. I'm just like, oh, these are the best notes that I possibly could have chosen. And then at the end, I'm like, well, I gotta come up with a concept now, and it's usually lame and based on a pun or something stupid like that.
Wow, I like it.
So it could be about Roots.
Ooh.
I'm a LeVar Burton fan.
Oh, all right, I like it. I like it. A LeVar Burton fan. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man. I gotta tell you, if it was after 11 and we weren't in person, we were pre-recording, I would totally recommend if you can make a Game Boy version of the Reading Rainbow theme, and we got DMX mixed in there with you on top. I think that's a bestseller. New York Times
Are you a
guaranteed.
producer? Because you should be a producer.
They tell me that. So Yeah, it's just my mom tells me a lot of things. So.
All right.
So she says, "Yeah, Nick, you're gonna be a star one day." And she goes, "All right, go get me some cigarettes." And I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna die one day, Mom, from lung cancer."
Every conversation you have gets dark really quick.
You know, it's you know, when I was a kid, I was a kid on the bus that everybody looked at and said, "I make fun of you, but I'm kind of afraid that you may jump off the bus."
At least you have an identity.
I do. So, and that's brought to you by Mentos, the fresh maker.
All right.
That being said, we got some good stuff here. Danimal Cannon, he is the man. Wasn't there a product called like Danimals?
Yeah, it's by Dannon. And it's a children's-based yogurt product.
On a scale of 1 to Ronald McDonald, what would you like rate what's it called again?
Danimals.
Danimals. What would you rate them?
I have never tried it, but I know the spokesperson for Danimals.
Who is it?
His name is Dylan Sprouse.
Ooh.
And him and his brother
Cody?
Cody? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they were on The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody. He came to one of my shows in New York. I think because I had the word Danimal in my name. And then we hung out and talked about Chrono Trigger, and yeah, we're cool now.
That's a real story?
Yeah, and then so every once in a great while we talk on Twitter, and this is about 3 years ago, and I still get like 12-year-old girls favoriting these tweets from like 3 years ago because I think they go through his entire timeline and favorite everything he's ever said. And then I got a small window into what it's like to be a child celebrity.
That's pretty creepy.
It's a pretty good anecdote, isn't it?
It is really.
I came prepared.
Wow, holy cow, that's nuts. I love you, Cody.
It's not Cody.
Oh, it's not? It's Dylan?
Yeah, it's Dylan.
Sorry. I love you too, Dylan, but not as much.
Oh, and to like follow up this story, I like that one or two tweets started getting favorited like out of nowhere, like hundreds of them in a day, like probably about a year ago, and I was like, well, I have to figure out what happened, and nude pictures of him got leaked onto the internet.
What?
Yeah.
Where can I find them?
Well, I'll tell you where you can find them, the internet.
Oh.
I did just say that.
Is that Rule 34?
I guess. Anyways, so, yeah, that's the follow-up to that story.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the game, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody?
I haven't had the privilege.
I've heard, I think he tweeted it out at one point. He said the only thing like good about that game is that you can destroy it or something like that.
That's possible. He's actually going to school for game design, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really bad game. You can only move in one direction. It's like pretend it's Mario, but without the platforming and vacuums.
I'm glad that you are like aware of this title and have like already clearly reviewed it.
Well, my mom, when I went, she gave me money for cigarettes. Instead, I went to the local Blockbuster and picked that game up for the Nintendo DS, and it was depressing.
That's fantastic.
The cigarettes would have been better. That being said, we got some more music. We got Danimal Cannon here with us. He is a phenomenal musician, and we'll have more questions on the way, but let's get back to some music right now. By the way, what do you want to play for us? Because honestly, anything you play, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna explode inside myself.
So this track I'm gonna play is called Party Bolt. Ooh. And it's called that because when I was writing it, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to write a song that makes me want to party. And then in the interface that I use on my Game Boys, you have the option to use a lightning bolt character, like in your name when you're naming it. So I was like, well, I can't not use a lightning bolt in the name. So this is called Party Bolt.
Awesome. Here on 91.3 FM WBNY. That song was Party Bolt. You know, it makes you want to party. You know, I tell you, if I was a child in China who was working long hours at the clothes mill, that would be a song I'd listen to to get me going.
Thank you very much.
There you go, endorsing children everywhere who work from the start of 4 and move on. That was awesome.
Thank you, man.
No doubt. I'm freaking out a little bit because this is some terrific music. We run a show here at WVNY. The Princess is on another station on Wednesdays from 11 to 1. And we play video game music and talking about games like Hotline Miami and some other games like that had kind of their newer indie games, but again utilizing music similar to this. Some really cool stuff. What are some inspirations that you had growing up?
Growing up,
or now? Both.
I mean, I grew up as a Metallica kid. Like, I just wanted to be James Hetfield from Metallica. But obviously, I've grown a bit from there.
Just not enough hair.
They've managed to somehow, devolve a little. But, you know, I still love them. There's a lot of video game composers that I'm a huge fan of. Some of which I like because they, you know, had awesome compositions. Other ones I really love because they came up with these amazing sounds on these old platforms that, you know, sounded out of this world, and I would study their work to try to figure out how they made these weird sounds, and now I'm making them myself.
Any specifics?
Sure. So a lot of times they use pseudonyms, actually. So I might not know their Japanese names, but there's a guy named Bun Bun, and he actually, it might even be a she. I just learned recently, but she did Mega Man 3 and 4, and I'm a huge fan of those soundtracks. There's a guy named Tim Fallon who did Solstice and Treasure Master and Silver Surfer and a bunch of really bad games, but wrote amazing music for it. And there's plenty of other, like,
don't forget. I
Uematsu.
don't want to forget. We brought up to by music director Pictionary was done by Tim Fallon as well.
Oh, Pictionary is the game that has the best music that doesn't fit at all with Pictionary. Like, it just doesn't fit. It's like progressive rock, like wank rock, over Pictionary. Nothing makes me want to play Pictionary like heavy metal solos.
In all honesty, if you bought Silver Surfer or Pictionary, your $50 were worth just listening to its soundtrack.
Exactly.
So,
fortunately, I didn't have to do that. I'm just listening to them now.
Yeah, that's good. But you said Nobuo Uematsu. That's obviously that's the big one.
Oh yeah, like you can't not love him. Mitsuda, who did Chrono Trigger stuff, like, and I think Uematsu did a tiny bit of Chrono Trigger as well, but it was mostly Mitsuda. And you know, some of the best pieces of music of all time, in my opinion. But my influences aren't just video game music, but I definitely draw a lot from that.
You know, that's one thing that I notice about a lot of composers who center around like video game music and such like that, is that it's a wide range of influences. Like, for example, you talk about Koji Kondo. Koji Kondo, he'll be like, oh yeah, you got Rachmaninoff. It's like, oh, okay, classical. That makes a lot of sense. You're a composer. Classical music. Hey! And then he's like Deep Purple and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. You're just like, ooh, Tarkus. Okay, that's nice.
Exactly. I mean, if you compare The Legend of Zelda to Super Mario, like, it's not even the same ballpark.
No.
So it kind of makes sense when you like just think about Zelda and not Mario. But
yeah, absolutely, and it's some great stuff. But you can hear a lot of stuff coming through your playing. That's a great thing. It can combine into this awesome piece. So a lot of this for people can't see, but a lot of this here you have like you're playing through Game Boys and such like that. But do not discredit your guitar skills are really good.
Thank you, man.
Really, really good. And talk about that balance of what you're going through right now when you're playing stuff off your Game Boy and you're going to guitar. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing so people at home can like get a visual idea?
So, like more like how my setup is.
Yeah.
So, I'm running this homebrew software on Nintendo Game Boys. If you've ever used a flash cart to totally pirate games or something like that, well, I'm using a flash cart to run homebrew software, and that is a music sequencer that I can sort of tap into the sound chip of a Game Boy and turn it into like this really weird, complex synthesizer that has a very distinct sound, but as you guys may have noticed, it doesn't sound weak at all. And honestly, the sounds are very familiar because, you know, it brings us back to our youth, but I actually just like trying to create the hugest, most craziest sounding thing I possibly can out of it, and seeing, like, it's pretty much a challenge for me to make music as big sounding as I can using a tiny little Game Boy.
And you get it, and we should play another song so we can hear it.
So you were talking about Tim Fallon, and I actually wrote a song very, very much influenced by Tim Fallon. This is sort of my ode to him. It's a new track, it's not off of any records, it's called Axis. Thank you.
That was great. Oh,
That's me trying to be as
Okay.
ridiculous as I can on a
I
single
was like,
Game Boy.
I couldn't see you from either
oh my
corner
gosh!
of the-
I gotta tell you what. I was literally thinking like right in that last minute. I was just like, man, this guy's got like impeccable time going on right now. And I see it at the end. He's just counting like right getting into it with some of that stuff. There was some crazy stuff going on there.
Thank you. At the end, I'm actually timing. It's sort of like this broken feedback ending, and it's 16 beats. And if I can stop exactly when the Game Boy stops, it looks impressive. So
It was impressive. Did we think it was impressive? On a scale of 1 to Ronald McDonald, I'd say it's a perfect Ronald McDonald. A perfect Ronald. A perfect Ronald.
I'm glad that's your standard.
That's a standard. That's a standard. Not only a standard of success, but a standard of diabetes. Here on 91.3 FM, WBNY Buffalo, we don't suck. We're here with Danimal Cannon, who is much better than other people who try to play instruments.
Thank you.
That is the best way I could say it. I'm sorry, people who play instruments. You're probably not as good. It's just how it is. They'll have to live with that, though.
It's kind of funny. So my roommate is a guitar player, and he's actually better than I am. So I constantly feel bad about myself. It's kind of a really healthy way to constantly improve yourself. So live with someone who's better at guitar than you, and you'll get good at guitar because you don't want to look like a jerk.
Absolutely. You want to be humble about it. The opposite of what I usually do, because I just usually yell, "You suck." But you're terrific.
Thank you.
That's really good. Why don't you tell us something about your other playing stuff?
About like
Your other playing experiences, stuff besides this. I know you said you got a gig coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, I actually part of the reason I got into composing music on Game Boys is I played with this band called Arm Cannon, and I still play with them. And we actually cover music from video games, and I ended up learning so much about how to compose video games through dissecting the files. And so I play in this other band, Arm Cannon. We cover video game music. It's pretty cool. And then we also have a progressive metal band called Weapon X. It's all original music, and that's with my roommate. And he's really good at guitar, and I pretend to be really good at bass. And I don't know, we make people look bad usually. We just play the most over-the-top progressive music we possibly could.
That's the best kind of
Yeah.
music. I love it. I'll tell you what. And you've done some. You said some video game covers. What video game covers have you guys done? Or what have you done?
In Arm Cannon?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we've done a lot of stuff. We've done some stuff from Metroid, Super Metroid.
Metal Metroid, right?
We've done. We have actually 3 albums worth of material, so I could go on for a while. But we've done stuff from Chrono Trigger, the Final Fantasy series, a bunch of Super Mario World stuff, a bunch of Legend of Zelda stuff. There's so much. A lot of Castlevania things. I mean, all the classics, you know?
Where can somebody find this?
At armcannon.bandcamp.com or armcannon.com, we have all of our music up there to stream for free. It's totally cool. If you want to pick up a CD or purchase it, that'd be awesome.
Do some stuff. And what about you as well?
I'm Danimal Cannon, and that couldn't be any more confusing. No, that happened because I had a username on a forum that said Arm Cannon because that was the band I played in at the time. But I started to sort of work on solo material, and I needed a way to differentiate what I was doing from the Arm Cannon stuff. So I just started calling myself Danimal Cannon.
Now I got a quick question. You got a cup holder on your setup here.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Doesn't seem like it was a naturally there. It seems like
No, this is naturally.
it was naturally there.
Yeah.
Who is the maker of this table?
So-
I must know, sir.
It's called the Table Toast, and I actually got paid for reviewing this on Boing Boing
What?
because I'm a boss.
Wait a second. Somebody pays somebody to review tables?
Yeah, right? It's under their cool tools thing, I think. But I essentially, a lot of times when I go on tour, I'm like scrounging around bars trying to find things to play off of because I need a table. And a lot of times it's difficult to travel with an entire table. And so I've literally played off like cocktail tables that were this tall, and I played off of folding chairs before. And I was like, there's got to be something better than this. So this is a table that actually folds up and into like literally like this tiny little rectangle. And I can fly on planes with it. I can put it in my backpack. That's how I brought it in here. And it has a built-in cup holder.
Can we role play for a second? Or you be yourself.
Okay.
And I'll be the man on the business board who came up with this project. Okay. All right. Well, we got this business project. It's made for about 5 people, and we think you're one of them. Could you potentially, I don't know, when you go out to play birthday parties and hot nightclubs and Madison Square Garden, maybe talk about table toads?
I could be a shill.
You could do
I
that?
could be a shill.
For us?
Yeah.
We feel like it's going to hit big I mean, even with kids, there needs to be a place to put your Sunny D.
People use these for projectors.
What?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Well, it turns out when you're projecting things, you need to put it on something or mount it to something, and this is something.
Wow, that is something, I'll tell you. But not only that, but when they're projecting Animal House illegally at their fraternity party, they also need a place to put their beer because he's lonely and is really angry that he was the guy that got put on projector duty.
And I'm really appreciative that they have a cup holder built into this because who doesn't need to drink?
What's the best kind of drink?
Beer.
Well, duh. I mean, but there's not beer. Not unless you're a priest trying to protect.
That's like the most
alcohol.
open-ended question. What's the best drink?
What's
That's like Conan. What is best in life?
What is best in life? I mean, yeah. I mean, but if you had to, all right, we're on a desert island, and God looks at it, he goes, "Hey, look, you got 3 things you can pick from, but one of them has to be a drink." And you get an unlimited supply of the 3 things. So I'm sorry, you got a little bit of a thing here. You got to pick one. And if you tell me beer, I swear to God, I'm going to be so angry. You have to pick one.
So a non-beer drink?
No, it could be beer. You can't just say beer.
Oh.
It has to be a specific kind.
Well, I'm really into the Southern Tier Unearthly Ale.
Ooh.
If you're into that.
See, he'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
If you would have said Miller Lite, somebody would have slapped. Somebody might have Joan over here might have jumped up and slapped you in the face. You'd have been like, "No!"
Joan wouldn't do that. We're cool.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Probably not. Joan's not very violent. I tried to describe her as violent sometimes, just because it's the opposite. It's like trying to describe Hitler as a pacifist. It doesn't work very well. That being said, I'm going to talk about kittens for now. You got a kitten on your guitar.
I do.
Want to talk about that?
His name is Lil Bub.
He's adorable.
And Lil Bub, well, my roommate ordered a Lil Bub calendar, and I had to steal the stickers that came with the calendar because I was like, this is the best thing ever created. If you don't know who Lil Bub is, he's like the most adorable cat that ever existed, and he's got a sob story that would make, I don't know, Hitler cry or something.
Definitely.
And
we're on the same page now.
If you don't like Lil Bub, you need to get out of my life.
I like that. See, that's a good stance right there. Lil Bub or never see me again. That's a good stance. That's my political platform. I'm running for mayor 50 years from now. And that's, hopefully Lil Bub's still a thing, or else that's going to be a really bad campaign tool.
You're a real weird guy.
You know, some people tell me that, but I blame it on my parents for waving garbage bags around me when I was a child and scaring me senseless. My dad also threw pillows at me when I tried to walk. Also, my parents told me when I was 7 that I was not an accident. Was what was planned with Jim Beam. So I think that had something to do with why I am the way I am. I got hit in the head with a baseball once. It was actually a softball. You know, there was a time when I went to band camp, and I gotta tell you, my band teacher said, there's something wrong with that kid when he's playing C sharps in a B flat concert scale. And he was right. I just like to see him cry.
I got that joke.
He did too. That being said, for everybody else out there, this is 91.3 FM WBNY. I'm a depressed, sad little boy, and we're here with Danimal Cannon, who's playing wonderful music. He's gonna play another song for us.
So Joan actually requested I play this song earlier, and since we were just talking about Joan, this track is called Rhapsody.
Oh yeah. It's a little happier. That's how babies are made. That's how babies are made. Baby making music.
I don't want to make any babies.
You don't have to. Just none of them are yours.
Not currently.
Not currently. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Do I smell bachelor? Do I smell bachelor?
You smelling it?
Oh, I smell bachelor over here, ladies. Coming right up here, contestant number 1. Please tell me, what would you do with this fine young hunk here? I would do a lot. I would do quite a bit.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. That's the voice of a. That's
My
the voice
ego
of a,
needed that.
That's a lovely young woman there. He's a bachelor, so get with it. We're at 91.3 FM WBNY. This is Danimal Cannon, and he's single. Ooh. Or any. I mean, unless you're a guy, it's okay. Guys are cool too. I mean, I don't want to insult. Ladies or guys or guys? Maybe
ladies.
Both. Ladies?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, not good. Like, wow, I sound really homophobic right now.
Really?
Wow.
That's okay.
On a scale of 1 to Ronald McDonald, I sound probably a Ronald McDonald's worth of homophobes.
Scale of 1 to Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, thank you.
Oh.
Jones got it going here. Reaganomics for everyone. Oh, man.
So, how many songs do you guys want me to play?
I will be with you as long as you want. We can play as much. We're with Danimal Cannon. It is not the kids' fruit smoothie beverage, but he did meet Dylan Sprouse from the hit TV show Zack and Cody.
He's a very nice man.
He's a really nice guy. So that one's for you, Dylan. Keep it going. You got life points from Danimal Cannon. That's more than I've accomplished.
Yeah, I'm sure he's really thrilled.
Yeah, he's got it. He's going places. Zach.
Yeah.
That being said, again, a ton of influences, a ton of really really cool stuff. What are you looking at doing for in the future right now?
Well, luckily I queued up exactly the right track. Sometimes I compose music for video games, and this is for an upcoming video game. It's going to be for VR systems if you're into that. So it'll be for the Oculus Rift, Sony Morpheus, or the Valve Vive, or the Samsung. I don't know. There's like a bunch of them now.
Can you describe to me, for people who don't know what like an Oculus Rift is?
So what it is it's essentially a virtual reality headset that sort of tracks your head movement in real time. So when you're looking around in this headset, you were literally in the world, and it's kind of scary the first time you do it because it's a little too real, and your brain actually gets confused. Like there's an effect where they put your hands in front of your face, like, and you see your hands in front of you, but you didn't actually do that, and your brain is very, very confused by this. So, how old are you?
I am a crisp 17.
All right. So, this analogy won't work at all, but I'm going to do it anyways. So, back when we had Nintendo Entertainment System and we jumped up to the Super NES, we went, whoa, this is incredible. And then when we jumped up from the Super NES to the Nintendo 64 and we got the 3D graphics, it was like, whoa. Well, when we're jumping from the PS3 to the PS4, we're like, I guess it kind of looks better. Like there's a little bit less jaggies, I guess. Yeah. And so that wow factor isn't really there. What I will say is if you play a good VR game, and it's difficult to program for VR because it's such a new thing, but when you do play like a really well-made VR experience, it is that wow factor that you're looking for, where you've never experienced that before, and it's cool. So anyways, I composed music for a game that's coming out, 2 games that are coming out actually. This is from a game called Proton Pulse.
Oh, very, very cool. Here on 91.3 FM, WBNY, Danimal Cannon, taking it new school. president, I'd vote for you. I just want you to know that.
You know, you would just vote for anyone who could play guitar well and
No,
program my game.
not true. Not true at all.
Because I have terrible values.
Look, it doesn't matter. You have swagger, and that's really what matters in this world. If we had a president with swagger, world peace. Because world peace answers to one thing, and that's swagger. Definite.
That's true. That's true. I didn't think about it from that perspective.
Bipartisanship here on 91.3 FM WBNY. What was that last song called again?
I actually didn't name it. The developer did. So I just call it Level 3.
Ooh.
But I can't remember the actual name of the song.
Hey, some of the best NES games just have level themes.
It's true. It's true. So I probably should have went out of my way to name it. But whatever.
It sounded great.
Thank you, man.
And really intensive. And something I wanted to ask as well. What now, speaking in general with games, how often do you play games now?
Not often.
Now, is there anything you're like into, like in your spare time when you get a chance to?
I like Metroidvanias. So like all of the, I haven't tried Axiom Verge yet, which I heard is amazing. But I'm really into like the DS and 3DS Castlevania games. And honestly, I attempt to be productive, and like I get this weird like guilt that comes over me when I buy a new game, and I'm like, I'm gonna sink like 40 hours into this and become the most unproductive human that ever existed. And so I sort of like treat video games, especially expansive video games, as like a drug or like an alcoholic having his first drink. I'm like, no, I would love it too much. And so I tend to play casual games, indie games, and mobile games actually. Because, I don't know, I just need something to play on the toilet, you know? Or something like that. Yeah, ladies, I'm still single.
That's right, he is. Hey, there's always Pictionary, soundtrack by Tim Follow. That's a game you can play quick and feel not guilty about going to bed after an hour.
Yeah, and I end up playing a lot of old NES and Super NES games just because I can kind of fire them up and not really care about where I am in the game and play for half an hour or an hour and not really worry about it. It's like the huge, expansive games that I will sink 40 hours into. Those are the problem.
Yeah, I can imagine anybody who's ever played Skyrim for more than 2 hours will attest to that.
Exactly. And so I actually had a lot of friends. When I went to school over at UB, a lot of my friends dropped out of college to either play Counter-Strike or World of Warcraft, because both of those were big at the time. And I saw that as a very dangerous thing. So I treated it with the respect that those games deserve, to manipulate your time.
And that's actually a serious topic. Video game addiction is something that kind of gets laughed at by some people, but in all realism, it's a serious thing. They actually have camps for it, and places
Really?
you can go. Yeah, there's a couple of places in America you can go for video game addiction. One of the biggest ones is World of Warcraft. People become so addicted to it that they literally drop every other facet of their life. I'm sure there's other games out there like League of Legends has to have people who just drop everything as well and become addicted. I mean, if you want to be the best at a game or really good in the top percentile, you have to treat some of those games like jobs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would stay up until 4 in the morning playing Final Fantasy VII, you know, on a school night, and it was, I don't know, not good for my school career, but I did it anyways.
Oh.
So I completely understand.
Oh yeah. I mean, the one I always hear is people who first played Doom. They go, it's one of those games, you know, you start playing, and then realize, like, you look back at the clock and it's 6 hours.
Yep.
6 hours has gone by of my life, and anybody, again, and all the gamers out there know what I'm talking about. They're all like, yep, been there.
And now it's weird, you can turn that into a profession by being like a Twitch streamer or a Let's Player, which I haven't fully come to grips with, like how that works yet. But, like now, playing video games can be a job. You could be the best guy in the world at Street Fighter 2, or Street Fighter 4 probably. And, I don't know, now you have a job playing video games.
And some of the guys who compete in Street Fighter, they actually play down, to my knowledge, at Buffalo Game Space. Some of those guys gather around there and stuff as well. So.
Yeah, I'm actually associated with those guys. I actually played their grand opening a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they were on last night on our show here at 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. Brought to you by the Buffalo State College Student Activity Fee and Mentos, the Fresh Maker. Mentos.
I like that they're getting like a free advertisement.
You just sometimes, you know, you remember like when you were a kid and you just fell in love with ads? I did, because I grew up in the 90s. I fell in love with Mentos Fresh. Mentos Freshness, Mentos Freshness better. There's always that weird white kid who always smiles. He turns around, he's just like, yeah, my life was terrible, but now it's great because of Mentos. He turns around, and he always turns around. So
It's
I
a
wish
good jingle.
I really wish they did that with like a weird product like tuna. Like, Abacus tuna, tuna's fresh is better. Tuna, and like, Tuna festival of life. Tuna, not with dolphin. So I would buy that.
That was beautiful. By the way.
Oh man, you know I got a jingle career ahead of me. I just substituted tuna for Mentos and made up syllables. So we got it. I'm gonna move on. This is getting weird. This is when I say it gets weird.
Yeah.
What other songs you got for us? Because my gosh, you blow us all away.
I got a couple more. This is actually, it's on my album Parallel Processing, but it's featured very heavily in a game called Wave Wave. It's a mobile game. I just looked at the sales figures for it, and it was like 350,000 copies, and I was like, that is a lot. That's because it essentially contains my entire album Parallel Processing on it, and it's sort of like I accidentally sold a gold record to people accidentally.
How does that feel?
Weird and disarming. But it's a really cool game. It's super hard. I mean, I actually like games that are super hard, but a lot of people just get angry at it. But it's called Wave Wave. It's for Android and iOS, and it's pretty cool. And it features my entire album, Parallel Processing. And this track is one of the main themes in the game. This track also uses both Game Boys at once. A couple of them do, and I have to sync them using the link cable that you used to trade Pokemon with.
We'll talk about that more after this song.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Tom Jones could see you now.
He would be like, "You're pretty bald, and I'm a better singer than you."
Those would be words he would use.
That is what came to my brain when you were like, "Well, what would Tom Jones say?"
Yeah. What would he say now? Because he was totally there, like laughing at you, like in some like weird dark dream. He's like, "Ah!" You're like, "Why are you here, Tom Jones?"
So Tom Jones is like the punchline on Fresh Prince, but I would totally hang with that guy.
Right?
Like
Like
I don't know.
people don't realize, like he's a soul singer. Like not just like this, like what's that, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
He's like a 7-octave range. He's incredible.
He's ridiculously talented.
Like,
he really is.
I would go to a Tom Jones show.
I
If
would
I didn't
go
have
to
to pay a lot.
I would go to a thrift store, buy women's panties just to throw them on the stage and feel like I'm part of the experience.
I like it.
I like it too. So other people would say, that's a little weird. You should see somebody. So I would be like, well, I'd go to therapy, but that ruined Metallica. So I don't want to do it.
It
So.
did ruin Metallica.
And there you have it, folks. Anybody who completed 10th grade geometry just did a proof there. Nick has emotional problems. Nick throws panties on stage. Nick goes to therapy. Nick has problem with Metallica. The proof is complete. That is true. And that's really what happens, St. Anger. 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo. Wasn't it Danimal Cannon? He is tremendous. He is the coolest guy on the block. And he's single, which is even cooler.
Thank you. All of those things are partially true.
All those things are partially true, except the single part's definitely true because he is the coolest kid on the block. The coolest. The coolest. The coolest, the cool, the Sultan of the SWAT, all right, the Randy Rhodes of the 4th grade McDonald's playground.
Wow, I'll
Yeah.
take that. I'll put that on my bio.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Now that last song talked about utilizing 2 Game Boys that you use, making some of that stuff with the link cable. You used to have to really jingle around to help trade some of the Pokemons around. Talk about that.
Well, I haven't had any problems with this link cable. This is actually like a new one because they still use link cables even for like Game Boy Colors and stuff like that. So it actually has the attachments for both. And I want to say like this is brand new when I bought it. I haven't had any problems with jiggling it around. But essentially the Game Boy itself is a very limited platform to write music with. And combining 2 together, it's very complicated to write that way. But you get twice as many channels and twice as many sounds you can have come out and get like a kind of a real rich full sound.
When's the first time you like realized this? Was it something that you saw somebody else doing? And you were like,
I didn't invent any of this, just for the record. I just happened to do it pretty well.
that's right. See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's good to be humble, but sometimes your self-esteem deserves it. Okay, but you can say you're good at this. I'd say it's fair to say.
I feel like pretty well is in the safe realm where I'm not an egomaniac, but I recognize like, well, I'm not terrible.
Can I do it for you?
Yeah.
I'll come on in. He's awesome, and if you don't think that, then screw you. 91.3 FM WBNY. We don't play crap, so change the station if you don't want to. If you want to listen to crap. I hear there's some other people playing crap. On 3, here we go. We get the crap call on 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Crap, crap, crap. There we go. All right. That being said, we're having a lot of fun here with Danimal Cannon. Damn, he's using link cables and Game Boys, and he's just ripping stuff up, man. If Tommy Tallarico was here, he'd be like, man, that dude's got some skills.
I hung out with that dude. He's cool.
Really? Tell us a little bit about that.
He's like my band Arm Cannon had played with Video Games Live twice actually. Once at with Kleinhand's Music Hall and once at Art Park.
Wow.
And that was cool. And then he's been at a bunch of video game festivals that I've performed at. And so, I've chit-chatted with him. He always goes, hey, I know you. And then I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. Because he doesn't remember who I am. But I have met him probably about 5 or 6 times. So, yeah.
So so you can literally say, be like, yeah, I know Tommy Tallarico. It's.
If you went up to him and you were like, hey, do you know this guy? He'd be like, yeah, but I couldn't tell you his name.
So all right, on the count of 3, I think we'll say it at the same time. Our favorite Tommy Tallarico video game soundtrack. On the count of 3, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Color a dinosaur.
I mean, so I went with the real answer and you went with the fake answer.
How is it fake? There's like, you have 14 who would make a coloring game on the NES? Whose idea was like, that's a good idea?
Someone who's not very smart.
No, but Tommy Tallarico made that game tolerable for me, kind of.
All right.
So-
Your experience of all 5 minutes that you possibly could have gotten out of that.
And in a real scenario, I am a fan of the Sega CD Terminator soundtrack that he did.
All right.
That
there
is
we go.
that is a real answer. But Earthworm Jim is one that he did as well.
Right.
Somebody playing with video games live, and your band Arm Cannon played with video games live as well.
True.
So awesome stuff. He's a monster. Stay tuned right now because we're just gonna hear another song.
All right. Is it cool if I play a track that has like a partial cover in it, in the middle of it?
Sure.
All right, we're doing that then.
What kind is the cover? Is it like all like a bitish cover kind of deal?
Yeah. So like my song sort of morphs into a song that already exists, and then it morphs back into my own song. I sort of put it in as a crowd pleaser when I'm on tour, because a lot of times when you're playing original music, it's nice to have people know something, you know, if you're playing for a new audience or something like that. So it's kind of a crowd pleaser I threw in there, but you'll know what the song is when you hear it.
All right. Here on 91.3 FM, WBNY, Danimal Cannon, the man. starring John Travolta, but this time with Kathy Bates. That's what I want to see.
I don't know who Kathy Bates is.
She's in About Schmidt. She gets naked in that movie. It's atrocious.
I also rank my movies whether someone gets naked in it or not.
So, all right, I'm not alone there. 91.3 FM WVNY Buffalo. Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. And Mentos, the fresh maker. It's keeping it fresh. No Tic Tacs allowed here in the station.
So I think I only have one more tune for you.
Only one more.
Yeah.
I got one more question before you play that last song.
Yeah, what's up?
That's what you said. I want to know your thought process through like building a song. So when a lot of people go to write a song, they're thinking of maybe it's going to start with a melody or it's going to start with maybe a chord progression. You have a very unique situation here with a lot of the technology you use. What do you do to start up and get going with your songs?
It's a very good question. The answer is it's different for every single song. Sometimes I will write a chord progression on a guitar and sort of translate that into something that might work on a Game Boy, like using arpeggios and other weird stuff in order to make full chords. Other times I'll just sort of mess around with the program and sort of try to come up with weird sounds that sound cool and build from there. The great thing about using different approaches is that you get a very different end result. Because if you wrote songs using the same process every single time, like they'd all sound the same. I know because I've written several songs that use a similar process, and maybe it sounds different to the listener, but I can tell the aspects of it, or at least the structure of it, or the way that the chords are arranged. That he wrote this on guitar. I can tell. I'm sure that's not obvious to anyone else, but for me, it's really healthy to use different perspectives and different approaches in order to really come up with a new sound.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now during the song, like you have licks that are coming in from the Game Boys and things like that that are coming in like 3 minutes after you started the song, or how do you cue those?
Essentially, I press start, and the song plays. There's a lot of different ways to use Game Boys. I perform with a guitar, so I sequence everything out, sort of like you would, like an electronic music track, and everything is pre-sequenced out. It doesn't mean it's not live. Like this thing actually screws up every once in a while, and it's not like a rendered wave file where I'm literally just hitting spacebar. I'm hitting start. That's very different.
That's very different.
No, it's still a live instrument, and I still have things go wrong, and I still have things that I can cue on the fly. I just tend not to do that because I'm busy playing guitar. But there are plenty of other musicians that use Game Boys that are cueing every single, or not every single, but different groups and different loops on the fly in order to construct their song. It's pretty cool, actually.
To try to give this is going to be a little bit of a weird comparison for people out there. People who have like mixed live with records before, or taken sequences,
right,
little bits before that. It kind of reminds you of that when you're seeing it live, where somebody who maybe is new to it and is a lawyer for a copyright industry may go, "That's lazy," and then somebody else who looks at it goes, "Holy crap, that's really hard. I don't know how this is happening, and you're making sounds I've never heard before, and this is awesome." And that's the boat I'm in.
No, and it's really fun for me because I get to play shows and people will come up to me afterwards and they'll just say, "I don't even know what just happened." And to me, that's fun to sort of introduce people to something new they've never heard before, even though I'm using technology from 1989. It's I don't know, like today sometimes it's hard to really surprise people. We have the internet now. We've heard every kind of music that ever existed, and it's kind of cool to surprise people once in a while.
If you had to pick one genre though, that like maybe we axed, what genre would that be?
That we axed?
Yeah, like.
Ooh, hold on. Crunkcore.
Crunkcore.
Yeah.
You're done. You're cut. You're
Yeah.
fired. You're fired, Crunkcore.
Yeah, that's like sort of like ghetto hip hop metalcore music. It's really bad.
It's not good.
It's the best. It's the worst.
Sometimes things go wrong. So I mean, I'm pretty sure before Frankenstein's monster was created, he had a couple of other ones that were just like, and he's like, "Nope, you're dead. Sorry, this is done." So that's one of them for music-wise.
Yeah.
For fusion. But thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you.
You are awesome, a wonderful musician. One more time, where can people find you?
My name is Danimal Cannon, and I have music up on danimalcannon.bandcamp.com or danimalcannon.com. And you can find me on Twitter. I actually operate the account that's @armcannon, and so that's me too. So if you want to find me on there, use the internet. Like just Google Danimal Cannon, and you're like, oh, that's him right there.
Go internet!
Well, it's cool because when you're coming up with an artist name, this wasn't on purpose, but you got to come up with something with unique search engine recognition. So if I named myself like, I don't know, Walmart Sale. That could be a band name. It could be. Like, that would not work when you go to search for them. There's plenty of bands that I go, or if Tool wasn't already a giant band, I would never be able to find them on the internet.
Yeah. I will. It's funny you mentioned that. There's actually a code in NASCAR 06. You name your driver Walmart every day, and you get like special Walmart tracks.
I'm happy that you possess this knowledge.
I did. When I was a little kid, I didn't have a lot of friends, so instead I stayed home and made a homemade. You know how people like cut out and paste things? That's what I did with codes. Like I went onto like the old like game facts, like those things. You'd be like, oh, cool code. But then the internet came out. I was like, oh, codes are everywhere now.
Yeah.
And then I played sports games, so I had no friends. And Walmart every day that's a code. So.
I wouldn't forget that. In fact, I won't now that you've brought it up.
NASCAR 06. Man,
right.
Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon on the cover.
They know their demographic.
They do. By the way, for people who hate racing games, the best part of that game is turning off the yellow flags and just driving backwards and destroying every car on the track. It's really fun.
I'm more of a Daytona USA guy, just so I can say
that's our theme song.
Daytona.
Let's go. Can we get you back at some point where we just do a live version with like half of our DJ singing? That's literally the training song we have.
So,
you did not pass the
I have a
test
story
until you
about
play that.
Daytona.
Oh my gosh! Please tell me.
So I played in Tokyo about a year and a half ago, and I actually had a contact who knew that composer, and I asked him to ask him, which he did, if he wanted to perform that song with me when I played in Tokyo. And Sega are jerks, and they were like, yeah, you could do it, but you can't record it or videotape it, and like everyone has to turn on and you got to sign a bunch of releases. And I was like, never mind, dude. But yeah, so I asked that guy if he wanted to play that, because I was going to arrange a version of it and have him sing, and it would have been the best thing that ever existed. And then they're like, yeah, but nobody could ever know that you did it.
Oh man! Well, if you ever want to come back and play that song, I will get a background chorus of like 10 DJs.
Awesome.
To just come back here and scream Daytona with you. What does he say, by the way, when he goes? What is he saying there? I never can make it out.
There's an awesome video of him doing it like somewhat recently in the last 5 years that actually has subtitles. I don't remember what he's saying, but it's the most broken, awesome English ever. Where it's like, oh yeah, really fast now. Oh, cars got tires and stuff.
That's the greatest. I'm having way too much fun here. All right, well, all right. What's your last song you're gonna play for us?
This track is called "Long Live the New Fresh," and it's a play on words off of "Long Live the New Flesh" from the movie Videodrome. Has nothing to do with that whatsoever. I just thought it was a catchy title. This is me trying to write a dance song. A lot of people who write Game Boy music write electronic dance music, and I play a lot of shows with them across the United States and across the world. And so I was like, I want to write dance music too, because that looks like fun, even though I'm a heavy metal guy. So this is my attempt to write my heavy metal dance song.
Here on 91.3 FM, WBNY. It's gonna be good. Yes! Yes! How's everybody feel about that? Feel good? We have a front row audience member here. His name is Tyler. He wears a nice pair of black shoes, black socks, and has been also known to be single, just like Danimal Cannon himself.
Looking good, Tyler.
Now I have a question for you. Are you single, Nick?
Me? No, I'm taken by the wonderful olive oil. Olive oil is my. I did a poster. That being said,
Do you guys use this radio station to pick up chicks?
never what I never have, but I know some people who have. Chappie has not. I just thought I'd leave that one on the cliffhanger though. Just scared. No, we do not. So we promote equal rights here at the station. You know, that would be inappropriate.
So chicks can use this station to pick up dudes or chicks or, anything.
100%. I'm mainly just out there because your skill is out of this world. I really love it.
Thank you.
The thing you do, the thing you bring, and I think it's going to lead up to an award here. I don't know if you have a VHS player or not, but you are the first recipient of the WBNY VHS award, which is awarded, and if you come over here, you have won, because of your skill, a copy of Titanic on VHS. That's for you. Leo, Kate, and James Cameron in the epic masterpiece. You played so well. Brian McDermott, our GM's going to kill us. He gets really upset anytime any of those go missing. Well, I'm announcing it over the air right now. You have earned yourself a copy of Titanic on the VHS.
Well, Kathy Bates is in it too.
One of these has a sleeve.
No, that's not good enough for you. You get 2 sleeves, sir. We're going to go through all these copies of Titanic.
Why do you have so many copies of Titanic?
Because we need to have copies of Titanic for a moment like this. Nobody's been worthy enough to get one until today. Oh man, Danimal Cannon, you have received the prestigious WBNY award, Titanic award. Titanic.
I don't know. Should I thank people?
You should thank people. Thank people.
I want to thank WBNY.
Woo!
Kathy Bates is in it.
Sarah Ali for actually asking me to be on the show.
Ooh.
Even though she's not here.
No, she's not, Sarah. That's right, Sarah. Good job. Good job. Real punctual.
And Buffalo Game Space, because that is where she met me and then asked me to play. So Buffalo Game Space is pretty rad. If you're into indie game development around the city of Buffalo, you should totally check them out. They're doing awesome stuff. And I gotta thank myself because, gosh darn it,
You did
I deserve
it.
it.
That's right, look. That's it right there. That's the self I'm talking about. And no way around this was my motive to let you know that Kathy Bates is actually in this movie as well. So there you go.
Who is she?
Kathy Bates she's one of the rich ladies that takes pity on Leo. She's just like, I'm a cool rich woman. Everybody else is like, yes, I'm rich. I hate poor people. Yes.
Let's do cigars.
Exactly. And then Billy Zane is so evil in this movie. The only other notable thing he's ever done with his life is played a terrible superhero and been Derek Zoolander's friend.
Listen to your friend
Billy Zane, Derek.
Hey, I would be in Titanic if they asked me to be. I'm just saying.
You hear that, James Cameron? I know you're thinking about making Titanic too. You spend way too much time underwater. All right?
I would go out with James Cameron. I like him that much.
Hey, James, you hear that? I know you're single. You've divorced 10 women. Maybe it's time for guys. All right? That's all I'm saying. All right. That being said, we are 91.3 FM WBNY. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me to your sex farm.
Oh, that is exactly what we are here on 91.3 FM WBNY. And if you ever want to come back and play, we'll definitely be more than grateful to have you play.
I'll have to write some new songs.
This is awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Chappie, it's all you, buddy.